What is up, guys? Wraith here, Gray Bearded Gaming Society, and to start this video off, we decided to start off just being sneaky. Now, as you can see from my little quick fast traveling montage at the start of the video, I had an idea on how to kind of finish some of our early upgrades that we were kind of looking for. Last time, of course, we got what we needed to build ourselves our little scarab helm, our little scarab breastplate, and while we were out, we actually did go ahead and we bought a bronze two-handed battle axe. We found it on one of the merchants we were hunting. But what you saw in the video was actually me after I got some buffs, which are now wearing off. I tried to maximize them. Aside from scouting some areas with which we could go do some future hunting, I also decided to check the merchants along the path to Greater Feydark, and the reason I did just that was pretty much for exactly what you see here, where I was able to find the carapace sections that we needed in order to finish our first little set of newbie armor. So now we are on our full little set, a massive 1-point upgrade there. We are now on our full set of scarab armor. We have our little chest piece, we have our little green boots, and we have, of course, our little helm from last time. So we are now officially in full bug regalia as far as dwarves are concerned. Basically, what I thought about was it would still be a while before we could safely tackle the larger giant scarabs. Now, I went down the path when, of course, where we had the buffs and checked some of them out. And most of them were still conning in at red. A handful of them were yellow. We did try one of the yellow ones. We had a very hard time. But again, with, of course, the point of not trying to sacrifice lives while trying to get random armor, I had an idea of, well, maybe if we just check the merchants in the area where a lot of people are hunting, we might find exactly what we need at a pretty cheap price. And that's exactly what we did. So I managed to get the carapace sections that we needed right off of the vendors for just a few gold a piece. And then I happened to run across the little battle axe here, which was also on a vendor, and it was only for a couple of plat. And while it was a tiny upgrade, I did go ahead and do it just to kind of see if it would make kind of any difference. It's the same damage, but it is a faster swinging weapon. Again, we'll see if it makes that big of a difference. I'm not quite sure it's going to. Honestly, it should probably one of the ones where I probably should have waited on, but kind of we'll see how it goes. But at least we have been able to finish now. Of course, we got our helm last time. Got our little scarab breastplate now, which, and again, we're not talking banded levels of armor, but while we build up some plat to safely be able to do that, this was still an upgrade over the leather chest that we had, as well as giving a stamina upgrade. And of course, with the boots, is yet another, armor upgrade. So we are in pretty good shape as far as some starter gear. What we have run into, and while I was doing some little scouting out and about, is of course that most of the stuff, bam, knockout. Most of the stuff right around the zone for us, or the zone in, I should say, is all going to be green. We're not getting the experience for most of it. We've poked at some of it, and a few here and there we might get a little bit of experience, but as you're seeing on most of these guys, we're just not getting anything. So it is time to move on from the safety of our newbie zone. Now again, like I said, I did some scouting on the way by, and there are a few spots, as long as we're careful. Of course, we could always try to stick near some of the guard posts and see what we can do there. The problem that we're going to run into, of course, is the farther out we go, the more dangerous, of course, that it does get. So I did check out also some of the guys right near the zone line to the Greater Feydark. And the problem there, so there are a couple of mobs that we can handle. This little guy here, these little crag chickens, which have given us so much trouble, at the front of the zone, their big brothers run around, the crag elders. And those guys are going to be bright red to us. They're kill on sight. We're not going to be able to outrun them unless we have the buffs. And the other problem with being all the way at the front of the zone is there are actually no guards there. There are a couple of merchants, but there's not actually any guards. So in short order, we are going to run out of super safe places to level. And of course, with this particular leveling combination, it's going to be a bit rough for us. We're going to have to find some stuff we can reliably beat up on our own. I've kind of eyeballed back and forth as we've traveled, like some of these little goblin ruins and things like that. Problem with most of these guys is, one, they're multiples, which we're not going to be able to handle, and two, they seem to be all bright yellow and bright red, which means they would pretty much curb stomp us on pull. So what we may end up doing is either taking up residence right down here at the crossroads, which is kind of the next step up, I would say. It's still safe. We still have some guards as long as we stay near it. Work on some snakes, some of the larger skeletons to go through. Like I said, we tried our hand at one of the beetles, the large scarabs, and he kind of put a thumping on us. So it's probably still not a safe bet there. But there are, like I said, a few little spots, so long as we kind of stay in some of the more protected areas. Because this was another one I cruised up. Shut down, because there's a little goblin camp down there. But these guys, I just do not think we're going to be able to get much done down here. If we fall even slightly behind on these goblins, we would not probably make it all the way back to our garden. As you can see, there's some hiding inside as well, and they are all bright yellow. Now, for somebody who obviously has some twig gear, somebody with some pretty decent spells, that would probably not be that big of a deal. For our little guy here, we would just take an absolute hammering. The other thing I figured out also, this is what they call a sucker play. You hit this little guy like so, and you wear him out, and don't confuse him for the big one. But, like I said, we tried one of the bigger ones. It did not quite work out for us. We're having to stick to these little guys because these big ones, even though they're only yellow, put quite a hurting on us earlier. We ended up having to run to the guards. But basically, we'll ID a new little spot to hunt in, somewhere kind of safe. Again, we're not going to get too brave too fast. Don't want to sacrifice too many lives. Most of our prey around here is probably going to be these guys. It's going to be the large snakes. And we can run out, we can smack one, slowly start pulling back. You know, generally speaking, like these guys aren't going to aggro other snakes, so that's not a problem there. We just want to keep our eyes open for anything else that might run around that might actually aggro us. As long as we stay near our little guard shack, we should be okay. Just don't get too close, or the guard, of course, will run out and kill steal us. But these guys so far have been pretty good. Again, experience is going to be somewhat slow rolling, because anytime we take too bad a beating, we're going to just have to go sit down and walk it off, basically, as they say. And eventually our little run speed buff will wear off and we'll be back to slow motion. One thing that I might look into doing, I'm pretty sure paladins do this. It's been a long time. I probably should have checked sooner. We'll just see, like, maybe we get a little bow and some arrows, something like that, just to help us pull at a distance with, since we don't have any spells and we're still 4 levels out on any spells. Just to kind of help us pull a little bit at a slightly safer distance, maybe just pull them back in the range that we want. But I think we're going to sit here for a little bit, kind of take out the things that we can safely handle. Again, there's still more goblin whelps over here, but these guys aren't going to do anything for us. The last several that we've killed have not even given us experience. Well, at this point, it's just faction and with a little bit of coin. Now, there are a couple of slightly larger skeletons. Trying to be careful to try those guys. We also have some of these guys running around there. And they roam pretty far. They're actually between the two guard shacks, so if we get kind of trouble in this corridor, we can run forwards, we can run backwards. Either way, I think we should be relatively safe to go through here and just kind of pick off some bad guys, because of course we cross that guard shack back there with the guard and merchant, and you have 2 guards up at the little shack right here. Apparently we have a little fat ninja, the high elf. Alrighty then. But I think in this will probably be our new little campground for a little while. We will run around, see what kind of trouble that we can get into here, and just try to grind out some more experience. But I think that'll be a pretty good spot to call it for night. Nothing too spectacular past our spiffy little armor upgrades there, so I think we'll be in pretty good shape going forward. And our little mean green fighting machine here, I think we'll be in a pretty good spot. And again, we'll also keep tabs out if anybody selling anything handy might be useful for us. And there goes our Spirit of the Wolf. So the bravery is going to end pretty quickly. Another thing that we've also considered, of course, this level range, even though it could be very dangerous, is we could always go all the way across to like Greater Fate Arc and maybe look at trying out the Orc Hill. Thing with there is, especially on a server that's new, we will definitely end up grouped there. that area is just going to be too busy. There's no way we're going to get, especially even safe solo pulls there. So that would definitely be like a grouping situation, which is what we might end up having to do in some of these spots, because there's only so much we can do in certain zones, in certain areas. We definitely don't want to travel the world just to go to some weird kind of newbie zone just to try to have a better shot at doing something on our own. But we'll kind of see how it goes out. Like I said, part of the challenge was to solo as much as possible, not solo all the time. So if we end up in the total brick wall where we just cannot safely or reliably solo anything, or we just end up totally dragging out trying to pull it down on greens, we will probably have to settle for one of those or kill groups, something along the line. But we'll see where we get. We will see where we get. But I think that'll be a pretty good spot to call up for the night. We will work on little snakes and skeletons and anything else that gets an area that we think that we can take. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, don't know what we're doing, the challenge rules are posted down below. Randoms only, random race, random class, 9 lives. Not a whole lot to surrender here, so we got to be careful with some of our decision making. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let us know what you guys think. If you're doing the challenge yourself, what kind of combinations do you guys come up with, I should say, to start, and what interesting challenges have you run across already. But until the next time, guys, we will see you then.